would love to win this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of pressure on the line, Jorby. I mean, they've talked about it enough on the desk. So much on the line for making top 2, going to the championships, trying to get that initial bye. And you're in a race against Cringe Society on the other side, who, you know, if you lose this game for Renegades, there's really not much else you can do except for hope and pray that that series is a loss for Cringe Society. So lots of things on the line. CJ has been known to fall a little bit under the pressure, but I think that he's picked it up a little bit. There seems to be a bit more confidence, I'd say, in his play.
Yeah, and the vibe seems to be pretty good. If the pregame lobby is anything to indicate. Fever, nice pinch over to CJ. He's got the catch, but defended for now, and Renegades are going to be forced to wait back in the blue half.
No, I think when it comes down to this Renegades offense, it's always been solid. It's just whenever they really start to get trapped in their own half, they don't know how to position themselves. And this is what I'm talking about. Their offense completely fine. Look at the passing plays, the pressure. It all relies on that one pass from Kami.
Yeah, that finesse from Kami gives CJ the angle. Both Spydoge and his teammate caught up on the back wall. And a nice start for Renegades. Fever also had a good push to start that whole pressure, or to start the pressure, and Kami gonna push up on this next one. But to tack on to your earlier point, Turtle, like, Fever actually the guy who I thought impressed, or has impressed for a while on this team, and you'd really like to see him be involved on offense more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the interesting thing for this Renegades offense, you know, in their loss against Mind Freak, you had CJ, who, when I looked at the stats, he was the most aggressive. He was the player who was up forward, getting a lot of shots on net, but that actually resulted in a loss. Their playstyle seemed a bit off, but every other win, you could see Fever, being a lot more aggressive, a lot more dominant, and I think, in my opinion, that's the playstyle they need to go for.
Yeah, he certainly has that poise, or not the poise, but that aggressiveness you need as a solid first man, and he has been that for Renegades before. They'll need him to be that again, as Fever will try to take this out, but Walcott and Spydoge have been all over him. Riot, despite getting scored on early on, have played a pretty solid game right up until their third man got blown out, but Walcott got there in time. Fever passed out in front.
Oh.
Beautiful from Renegades, but they banged it off the post, and CJ can't put it in. Another pass, and denied off the top of the crossbar. Woo. Riot Gaming get out of a tough one.
Starting to look like target practice right now for Renegades. They've got so many shots on net already. 6 shots for Renegades, putting that pressure forward. CJ, I like the idea there to go for a dribble out. And speaking of Renegades and just, you know, what we can expect from them, ground zero, we saw the interview with Amphis, I believe it was, where he said the one team he was worried about in this tournament was going to come down to Renegades. And I think that just proves, you know, to everybody right now watching this region, that you have got to respect this Renegades team and understand that they are capable of taking that #1 spot.
But as we're watching against Riot here, they're not letting Renegades in for free, and they're not, you know, their net hasn't been, well, completely destroyed. There are 6 shots on net. Riot have gotten 3 of their own, but it's felt pretty tight overall. Riot, they've been able to control midfield for the most part. They've gotten a lot of solid passes out, and that's probably where I'm scared most for Riot, is defending those passes in front of the box. CJ almost getting around them in the double commit.
It was the one goal that worked for Renegades was off that midfield pass from Kami, and that's what basically separated the entire defense, split them apart. There's another pass, the fake from Kami. He went for the second mind game, not as effective, but my goodness, here comes the transition. The speed of that pass and the shot was not on point, but still, that looked like a threatening play.
You still like to see that. And another clear for Walcott. Well, Riot have grabbed more and more of the pitch, but CJ gets over the second defender, and now Spydoge left alone, tries to handle it. Ball time for Walcott, and that's all that mattered, but he's still on defensive duty here, watches it back over to midfield. Renegades trying to hang on in the orange half for as long as they can.
I think if you're Renegades and you're a fan of Renegades right now, it's a good sign to see CJ dribbling it out of the defensive half. Normally when these players hit the pitch and there's a lot of high pressure situations, or there's a lot of different results and things at stake, a lot of times these players will try to force clear these balls, panic on the hits, and you'll notice CJ, he's dribbling everything out. He's calm, he's collected, and for a player that we often talk about being emotional, that's a great sign.
You know, Kami puts that one in off a pass from CJ in the pregame lobby. CJ just put in good vibes, good luck And it's all vibes right now for Renegades. That's how you open up a game on Manfield.
And that's an interesting pass as well from CJ whenever he sees the other side wide open for Kami. And normally whenever you get that position, you expect CJ to take that shot right on net because he was in a good situation to go for the shot. But the selfless play is what I really admire about that.
It's really helped out. Kami especially on top of that has just had some excellent passing so far, and it's puts Riot in some pretty tough positions. In the waning seconds of game one, Fever flying. He flinged himself onto the ceiling. No touch, unfortunate. That would have been a cool one. But Riot, despite, I thought, I don't know, Turtle, you got to tell me. I thought Riot played a pretty good game there, but like they just couldn't put it together on offense. I don't know.
I don't know. It was like almost underwhelming for some reason. I feel like we've gotten into this first game and it was very routine. You know, there wasn't anything crazy. There was barely any aggression. And Renegades, for the most part, were just playing a solid game going for midfield passes. That was the difference. We saw maybe one counterattack opportunity for Riot. Spydoge was the only one with any shots for his name. Walcott, Scruffy, they didn't even put a shot on net. And they were stuck in their own half. And it didn't really seem like they were getting destroyed. It was just a very, very relaxed game and a really easy win for Renegades.
Yeah, nice touches. Kami, nice fake in front. And I mean, that little mind game right there, even though they were able to get out of that, that just tells you how in control Renegades were, not just on the pitch, but Turtle, as you've been mentioning, you know, also with the mentality. Clearly, Renegades are a step above right now. And as we head to Forbidden Temple, you know, Riot, you have some good building blocks here, but now they have to construct it into something.
Definitely. And I think the foundation of that building is going to be Spydoge. Spydoge has been a monster so far. I mean, it was a tough loss for Riot in the group stage against Cringe Society, but I looked at those stats. 2 goals per game for Spydoge, 58% shooting accuracy. That game went all the way to game 5, or that series did rather. And Spydoge was the reason they were able to even put up a fight. And now against Renegades, we need to see the same performance and also a step up from Walcott and Scruffy. They cannot have 0 shots at the end of the game if you want to bring it to Renegades.
Now, Spydoge didn't have many opportunities himself. So how do Riot respond? Or will it be CJ throwing the first punch, Fever getting up there quickly? And that'll be a tough one, but he grabbed it. Now CJ's there. The crossbar. Kami has the shot, and it's good for Renegades.
And the key for Renegades is how they handle the pressure and keep getting these follow-up shots, because there's one attempt from Fever, one then followed up from CJ, and then you get Kami to rotate in and get the cleanup goal. That's beautiful rotations, and they have to be pinpoint accurate. Otherwise, you're not going to make that play, Jordan.
Yeah, taking what they're given on the pitch, too. Whether they have to do it through infield passes or just through successive rebounds. Renegades have been able to find the back of the net. Same can't be said for Riot, but Scruffy picks up a quick one on the pass. Just can't really find a way to work back around the edge. It always finds its way back to the corner, and another clear for CJ.
I do like that attempt, though, from Riot, one of the best we've seen, and it started with a midfield pass from their own half. Here comes Spydoge, a big flip into the midfield, but it doesn't go anywhere. There's always an answer from Renegades in the midfield, and also a bump on the goal line. Renegades are swarming around the defense of Riot.
Yeah, the mix-ups continue. CJ says, okay, I'll create value this way, and yeah, why not go for the bump? The follow-up's solid. The rest of the team is out of rotation, and he got boxed. Kami on the kickoff, push it up,
This is really good, a really good sign from Renegades. This play style, the gameplay we're seeing, so polished. I mean, that's everybody committing on offense from Renegades, but nobody, regardless of their positioning and how close it was to each other, they didn't step on each other's toes. That's very difficult to do in a high-pressure situation. Renegades, they are communicating well and spacing out just enough, and it looks great on the field.
For Riot, it hasn't taken nearly as many chances for Renegades to find their way into the net, so something's got to give here on defense, whether it be the midfield challenge game or otherwise. Like you've been saying, Scruffy and Walcott, they still haven't been able to get anything going. In fact, there are 0 shots on net for Riot almost 2 minutes into the game.
Well, and they can't even get past the first step, which is the midfield from Renegades. You have to win that first challenge. Right here, you see Fever, he gets that flip into the ball. Walcott is way behind him. That's the first step. And here we have Spydoge. He can't get it past CJ either. It's too much. There's a wall already built up from Renegades in the midfield, and it's stopping everything Riot have to offer.
Oh, and the pass from Fever to Kami there as well. The control from Renegades. Good vibes indeed so far. Riot have been scoreless. And even right there, Spydoge has to work to get by Kami, and Fever was just waiting for it. Fever almost puts it in himself, but Spydoge gets the clear out. CJ's got the look, but can't find the target, and Scruffy will look for another clear, but Kami rips one from the corner, saved by Walcott, and Walcott will gladly take that back to the blue half.
And this is where Renegades are thriving. It's just getting multiple shots on net, and eventually that mistake will come out, or you can force it with a demo. CJ is actually lurking for that physical play. He took the corner boost, and then check him out now. Perfect rotation, nice little turn in midfield, and he's ready to go back on attack and keep this ball in the half of Riot.
Kami trying to prevent the counter attack, and I would say he did so for Fever back in midfield, but Riot swerved back to the opposite side of the pitch. Walcott avoids Kami on the bump. CJ takes the ball away again. He has played an excellent series so far. Nothing has gotten by CJ yet.
100%. It is literally the foundations of what makes a Rocket League team solid and consistent. And those words are something that we haven't been able to use to describe Renegades. A lot of times in these situations, they will crumble, but it's got a completely different story. CJ, another clean little turn in rotation, and they keep that pressure on. And of course, you've got another answer, Fever in midfield. It's just everybody's exactly where they need to be, Jordan.
And you got time to adjust if you're Riot. This is a long set. Going down 2-0 here, I personally, if they don't get this goal right here as Walcott gets bumped off, it's going to be hard to find any goal for this final minute. Kami takes it underneath, flips it around, but saved by Scruffy. Fever kicks it back over to CJ, and the net's open if they could get there, but nobody is available, so Spydoge gets the clear. Walcott gets the shot, and there's Riot Gaming on the board.
This is what they needed. Somebody in the midfield being a bit more aggressive, and nobody from Renegades for the first time was ready to challenge all three players in the same radius. You've got to spread out more and try to get a challenge. That passive play style from Renegades ends up hurting them in the end, and we've got a closer game.
That was the one chink in the armor of Renegades, and Riot stuck a knife in it, ripped it open. CJ trying to close that gap. Can't find the ball, and it's taken away by Spydoge. Could this be the spark that they needed? Scruffy wins a big one in midfield. Can't find the touch, though, and taken away back to the corner.
It looked like Scruffy was going to get the follow-up after that one hit the ceiling. CJ has been pretty solid on defense, getting that first clear. Then Spydoge, if he had any more boost, or at least a little bit more speed going into that challenge, you'd think that would have been a goal, and Scruffy has to try to win this 50, but the passive play style, and Fever even going for those midfield touches, working out and stalling all this time off the clock.
Well, just forcing Riot to go for it, and Kami's got him beat. Kami gets the second touch, but Spydoge got in the way. Can Riot get this ball off the ground? Scruffy in a really tough spot, but he does his job. Walcott dives back in. Spydoge, he's able to break out downfield, but this is going to be tough. He does create some time, but Fever takes it out, and Renegades take Forbidden Temple.
And I think this game just goes to show Riot, if you give them the opportunity, Jorby, there was literally one moment, one mistake from Renegades. That's pretty much all we saw. And Riot were able to punish and capitalize on it. They're ready. They're in position, and they have the mechanics to punish, but they're not getting that many opportunities. So now the question is, how will Riot create them? They've been waiting far too long. They need to be a bit more aggressive and try to fight fire with fire.
Yeah, they have to find a way to beat the control deck of Renegades, because it's too powerful right now. And, you know, the aggressive perspective really hasn't worked because they haven't won those challenges as you've been talking about. So I do agree that is a key to success for Riot. But the end of that game in Forbidden Temple was a spark that we hadn't seen yet in Riot. And that's certainly something they can continue to build.
Yeah, and this is one of those games that could easily bleed into the next. You just need a little bit of confidence. For teams like Riot that come out and are trapped in their own half and they're getting a little bit stuck mentally, being able to finally break out, get that first goal, feel confident, that's going to do wonders to the morale of the team. And they're probably, in my opinion, going to come out in Game 3 and give the best performance we've seen from them today.
Well, we still haven't seen, at the end, we did see some midfield power from Scruffy. And if he shows more of it, Riot might even be the first to strike. Walcott tries to shovel that ball out, but CJ hops in the way again.
Oh, and Scruffy, that's the situation. Scruffy's rotating back. He needs to turn in that instance and try to keep the midfield pressure on, but instead he just wants to go all the way back and keep a passive and safer rotation. But against Renegades, Jorby, that's not going to work with how well they can control that midfield.
Yeah, it's just been impossible. They've been having to dive at some of them, and every time they do, look at that. CJ, Scruffy's in an awkward position with no boost right after that challenge. Spydoge gets the bouncer up. Walcott able to stop Kami, but you know, those have been the plays that have been a struggle for Riot to win.
Another awkward miss in the midfield, though, from, I believe, both Renegades and Riot. But here's Spydoge on the air dribble, gets the flip reset on net, and then the dunk. This is how you start some pressure. Maybe it could lead to something. The speed from Walcott seemed to be on point, but there was, unfortunately for him, a defender in the way and ready to get a save.
Well, Renegades were able to withstand that initial pressure, and now they're back in the orange half. Fever trying to get the bump on the Walcott. CJ lined up for the rebound, takes it off the back wall. Fever comes in and gets the shot right off the post, but there's plenty of space for Walcott. Kami finally gets back in play, and Spydoge will try to keep Kami off the ball. He will be unsuccessful, and CJ will make the connection. CJ tried to find the dunk. Fever will keep it going, but Renegades somehow retain possession of this ball where you felt like that should have been a transition, but Spydoge is left on the back wall.
Well, and that transition was denied because Kami had no hesitation as the third man back. He was alone. It looked like it was going to be a 1v2 situation. Another midfield pass comes in. Excuse me. But like we've been saying all series long, that challenge, this one right here, here comes Kami. Third man back, what's he going to do? Walcott's able to get over him, and Kami can move up and still be aggressive, and it leads to a goal, Jorby. This midfield possession from Renegades, it's too strong.
And this is just a characterization of how Riot have been feeling. You're out of position. You're having to double back. You're having to make up for lost time. Things did not go the way you expect, and now the ball is in your net. That has been the story of Riot Gaming in this match.
I think there is one play that could potentially destroy and throw everything off from Renegades. It's going to be difficult. Maybe this is it. Scratch what I was saying, because Scruffy, he's got another idea to put into place.
And that was just a good challenge from Walcott. A favorable bounce. Fever was expecting something a little closer to the corner and was punished for it. So Scruffy taking advantage of, again, another key miscue from Renegades. They have let in, or they have let out a couple of weak ones, and Riot have been able to snuff those out, but they've been few and far between.
Yeah, and Riot, they're so good at punishing. It's ridiculous. They've barely gotten any opportunities, but when we do see them on offense, they are clinical with their striking, which, you know, gives you a little sense of hope when it comes down to this team and making a comeback in this series. They're down by 2 games, but now is the time to make a strike and put something on net. But here's CJ to do that on the other side.
Oh, the follow-up is always so close behind first man for Riot Gaming, and they get by this time, but it's put them in some tough spots. Spydoge quickly off the ceiling and can't find the goal. CJ gets in the way. Flip back to midfield. Renegades on the move again. Kami off the ceiling, right over Walcott, right around. Spydoge takes away the option, and Riot get out of a tough one.
Oh, and they actually use each other now to get this ball down the field. There's a chance for Walcott, but he's dribbled around by CJ. We have seen that play quite a few times from him where he goes for that dribble, that slow play out of the corner. And it's been effective, but now it's more of boomer ball, Jorby. It's become a fight. That previous midfield Renegades possession is dwindling down, and it seems like Riot are finding their stride.
Maybe Riot felt like they had to go to that game. That was the only way they could get Renegades to respond to them. It's because their control has been so good over the match. Kami gets a nice read. Fever will get the catch. An interesting sequence to head downfield, but Spydoge takes the ball right back. Does he have the read? CJ grabs it, but it's a pass over to Scruffy, and he punishes them again. Riot have taken the lead.
And I was just about to compliment CJ because he timed that flip perfectly, but then he completely rushed that clear, smacked it as soon as he could, and it bounced off the ceiling, the worst possible bounce for him. And if he had just taken a little bit more time on that clear, maybe gone for a first touch and then a follow-up afterwards, you could get it around the offender. But CJ, he's feeling the pressure. This is not a good sign for Renegades.
Renegades get a quick one, though, from Fever. CJ gets the bump, or Kami gets the bump. Fever gets the dunk. CJ can't get the shot, and it's taken away. Here come Riot Gaming again. Renewed energy. Scruffy getting bumped off the ball, and Kami starting again from the corner.
air dribble, but the defensive Riot, they are prepared. They're finding better positions, and Walcott off the backboard. He does have the shot. Crossbar down. I didn't think this was going in. I thought maybe he had to get a follow-up, Jorby, but it was in.
They needed Walcott to step up, and Walcott has answered on DFH. Another solid goal for him. Riot have caught Renegades out twice in a row. And despite the plethora of shots, Turtle, you're counting 9 for Renegades. They just haven't been able to find the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit more routine. They're going for the same style that worked so frequently. There's a demo. The accuracy from Kami, not good enough, but that pass is certainly good enough. It's saved from Scruffy. He had the read. This is remarkable. Riot have stepped up their game tenfold.
They needed it. Going down 3-0 is pretty much the death note of your match. Rarely do you come back from it. Riot won't have to contend with it. Walcott picks up another save. Crucial at the end. And DFH Stadium belongs to Riot Gaming.
I can't believe it. I literally can't believe this beginning for Renegades. They were so confident and they were playing that calm play style, winning every challenge in the midfield. But then Riot, one punishment, and they started feeling the confidence through their veins. They pushed up a bit more, and they were in far better positions on defense. A lot of times Renegades would go for that same midfield pass that worked out so well earlier on in the series. But this time we had somebody from Riot in that position, filling that space so that it would make it more difficult for Renegades. And as a result of that, Renegades had to get trickier shots, and you couldn't see them find that same accuracy that they did at the beginning.
Yeah, not as much space, but now for Renegades, how do you adjust? Because you had noted earlier, Turtle, it kind of got to a boomer ball scenario, which was where Renegades did not want to be. And that really affected how they approached the pitch. So how do you get back that control when Riot have turned the table on you?
I think this is when you throw in Kami and try to get his aggression to come out on the pitch, because he's been the most aggressive player by far for Renegades. He gets the most demos. He steals the most boosts. We need to see that same performance from Kami. The demos, the physical plays, they were implemented a few times earlier on in the series, but they need more of that, and also a couple more solo plays. CJ, I love the dribbles out of the corners. Keep with the ball a little bit more and implement Kami, because you've got to deal with Spy Doge off the kickoff.
Oh, not how Renegades want to start. Kami on the cheetah, picked the wrong gap, and Spy Doge punishes. Not how the kickoff ever, not how you ever want the kickoff to go. And so Renegades got to start with a short hand as CJ sets up off the back wall, and it comes for free Fever, and a backboard read turns into a goal for Renegades.
And now I'm a little bit confused as to what happened here on the backboard. We've got Walcott, who is in position, but he decided not to go to the backboard, instead try to get the read, and the odds of hitting that touch far less likely than it would be if you just go on the back wall and rotate there for the safer position. A bit awkward from Riot, and that's a very nice sigh of relief for Renegades.
And maybe even a grin or two as Fever gets behind the ball again.
Double flip reset? Oh.
With that much space, why not? CJ,
I know.
No chance at the net, taken away by Scruffy.
It's tough for Fever. He hasn't had too many opportunities as the new pickup. CJ, and Kami have been together since early 2020. Fever now just coming on the roster recently, but he has been a key factor in the offense, and to their success in this split, we'll see him get involved more on the offense, because if he can pull off some double flip resets, surely he can make something else happen.
Yeah, most of the time I felt like he hasn't had the space, though. This time, he's given a freebie off the rebound, and Fever, that's his second goal.
And this is really tough. This is another mistake from Walcott. He got the backflip. He inched out of net far too quickly. A bit eager to get that clear, but the bounce was something he didn't expect. Backflipped, and you give a free one to Renegades.
It started so good. And about as good as you could ask for Riot. But then things got turned on you pretty quickly, and they got to fight from a deficit. CJ gonna get a clean clear out to Kami. Kami got a nice catch from midfield, and that's the danger of Renegades. You give them the space, their control's good enough to hit you every time. And Fever is on a spree right now. That's a hat trick.
And this is what I wanted to see more from Renegades, a mix-up. Just before this play, we saw the air dribble, the solo attempt from Kami, and that started things off to get that pass out into the midfield, and Fever secures that hat trick.
Well, you were just talking about it after he scored his first goal. Like, you know, it'd be great to see him if he can pull off the double flip resets to, you know, show a little bit more flash. Yeah. How about 2 more to add to the table?
I mean, it's almost like the double flip reset. He was like, oh, wait, you know what? I can do this. Let me go ahead and throw some mechanics forward and try to impress a couple of people watching at home.
Nice pass to Kami. But nothing really came of it. Shot a little wide, and CJ covers the gap. Well, Ryder's still in a good position. Seems they've stabilized here in midfield, but that keeps happening, and they keep getting pushed back to the back wall.
Well, and it's simple mistakes. I mean, this game should be tied up 1-1. If we're being honest here, with Walcott making both those mistakes, but he can make up for it with a shot. Cut out from Fever, who's not only making moves on the offense, but also holding it down on the defense.
The selflessness and the field awareness for Renegade. Oh, the fake from Walcott did not fool Kami at all. He picks up the save. Oh, go for a few more of those, Riot.
I'm kind of sad, but I'm also so impressed from Kami. How did he get that read? You see 2 players flying at the ball, and he made the perfect read. The right guess, the pre-jump to get that save and keep their lead with 2.
Just imagine seeing that happen, and you just got to be ready. Kami, no problem for him.
Oh, CJ?
Ooh. Actually, Turtle, think about Riot in that situation for Walcott. I think you just pulled off the nastiest fake possible, and he didn't even score. Oh, he gets another one. No, he's blocked by his own teammate. No.
Somebody come and help out my man's Walcott. This is just absolute pain. Not only did he pull off the fake earlier, then he gets the dunk, but it's saved by his own teammate, and Walcott was in rough situations on defense, and you're worried about Fever styling on you as well. There's just too much to handle if you're the defensive Riot.
Nothing has gone Riot's way. You pulled out every trick in the book, and
maybe another one? Nope,
even
it's not enough. It's not enough.
And if the book can't tell you how to get by Renegades, well, how can you? Fever going to carry this out from the corner.
Well, Walcott's still doing some damage, getting some bumps on CJ. CJ, and then the Doomsday Dish attempt had come out, but they weren't able to land it, and it's because they can't slow down the rotation of Renegades. I think some more demos, some more bumps would be effective, but even when we do see some physical play out of Walcott, it's not enough. Maybe a pinch. Nope, that's not going to work either. You got to throw everything you have at Renegades.
You know, there was a time where that pinch play right there, Kami wasn't there. Like, Renegades would have got scored on. And then we'd be talking about Riot coming back in the game. But this has just been such a clean game overall from Renegades. It's like, yes, there have been some mistakes along the way, but very few games go without their mistakes, and Renegades have made as few as possible.
Right.
Riot have been good at punishing them otherwise.
Well, and those mistakes a lot of times come down to the decision-making. CJ, he did this all himself and dunked on the man who's been struggling all game long, Walcott.
Well, Walcott, that's tough. You got to screen across the box. CJ's already got you beat on the momentum. He's also square behind the ball. You're going laterally. Physics is not in your favor.
I mean, that just adds on to the hurt. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, it really is tough out here for Walcott. Let's be honest.
That's the 3rd goal where he's been in a situation where he could have done something, but the read, I'm not trying to roast my man at all. It's been difficult situations. He's been stuck on the backboard trying to figure out those reads. Maybe we could get another rotation from Riot that's behind Walcott that is able to follow up the 50-50, and Renegades are going to get another one here from CJ in the corner.
You really can't say not for lack of trying from Riot.
Yeah.
Just a cavalcade of unfortunate events had led to them only scoring 1 goal. And it was odd how it happened.
Right.
Obviously the first one, the fake being the most notable one that Kami still saved.
Oh, it looks so good. It looks so good. Well, that's even more demotivating because you're Riot right now. You're like, well, what is going to work against the defense of Renegades? Well, not only is the fakes, that's not enough. We've gotten a couple of bumps. I haven't seen too many full demos where you delete somebody, but we have seen physical plays. They started strong with the kickoff right here.
They bumped him on the one, but they didn't get the right guy. They bumped the wrong guy in net. They bumped the guy behind him. It's
look at this. What is that? That's just painful. You got the perfect play. That was Walcott. He was in position. He got the dunk, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, finally, we broke the defense. Beautiful. But then here comes Spydoge out of nowhere and saves your own shot. I mean, you've just got to get out of this mental hole, but I don't know how to dig yourself out of it because Renegades, they're barely making any mistakes.
Renegades took Utopia, and now they look to end the match on Wasteland Night. And we're underway. Riot are in the hole, yes. And how they climb out of it, well, we'll find out. Scruffy, just can't get the read on the pass. Fever will take it back out.
Well, I think at this point, if you're Riot, you need to look at the games that Renegades were struggling with, and that was Mind Freak. They got destroyed by Mind Freak, I'd say. In the group stage, the follow-up from Fever. It doesn't even matter what happened in the past because Fever is here today, and he's popping off.
Oh, and Spydoge, he committed, and then it bounced off the post, and I mean, everything went wrong there for Riot.
Yeah.
And that's not how you want to open the first 25 seconds of Wasteland.
When I was just about to talk about the series from Renegades versus Mind Freak in the group stage that we saw where Mind Freak took that win 3-1, I was looking at the goals and how they were able to beat and break down the defense of Renegades. A lot of it came down to physical plays. Several demos where we saw even Requiem was popping off with the assist, but he was also the one getting those demos. Somebody from Riot has got to step up. I think it's Spydoge because he finds himself the most forward. Instead of prioritizing the ball, go for some physical plays. Need to take some players off the field because he can't even win that challenge. Spydoge flips forward, but it's right to Fever, and Renegades are ready to transition out.
Yeah, it feels like we're back on Manfield where just every touch is a Renegades ball, even if an orange car touches it. Even here, Spydoge just can't find a way in, and the Pulse just punched back to the opposite side of Riot territory. Caught out by Kami. Riot just can't get a handle on the ball. They can keep the ball locked in their own third, but they can't even progress any farther forward. Walcott finally breaks out. He's got some boost.
Reset.
Walcott off the crossbar. No chance. Scruffy gives Spy. Anybody be there? Not a chance.
Oh, there he is.
Launches to a clean net.
Wow.
And a clean 2-0 lead.
And you can see, I think Spydoge even just dropped the controller here. His car just stopped driving. He's frustrated. You just got a shot that went crossbar down, and it was your best opportunity. You don't come away with the goal. And on top of that, the transition from Renegades absolutely dusts you, and you're left with nobody back on defense.
Riot are left with a whole lot of questions and not a lot of convincing answers.
Oh, here we go. Spydoge going for demos. I like what I'm seeing. This is something that could open up some space in the midfield. He didn't connect, but he is definitely looking for those and maybe trying to implement something new, something different because they need it right now. Their tournament lives on the line.
Despite everything they've tried, they're throwing back to the orange half. And Spydoge, they're starting to find each other a little bit more. Maybe they can start to chain together a couple more passes to get through this Renegades defense. Makami, he sends it right back over to the corner. Yet Riot have grabbed more and more control of this. This could be a breakaway. Scruffy launches it back to the box and taken away by Fever. Spydoge stopping the transition, but Fever, he says it goes along. Walcott wants the read, but he's nowhere close to him, and Spydoge is forced up. CJ gets the catch out, and they want Riot to come forward. They want them to challenge because CJ ripped a shot. Kami is not going to find it. Thought he was going to come in. Fever's going to take it instead. Right in. He forces the own goal. It's another hat trick for Fever.
Look at CJ in the net. He is harassing Walcott. He was stuck on that bump literally for like 5 or 10 seconds. He didn't let him out of his own net. That is painful, and it's on none other than Walcott, the man who has been getting beaten and bruised this entire series.
It's one thing to get into a scrap in your own net. It's another one to just get your car pushed into the curb.
Yeah. No, he couldn't even turn around because it wasn't, a Rule 1 situation. It was literally a spot where CJ had all the momentum. Walcott didn't jump because he assumed maybe CJ would go off in the rotation. but he didn't bite, didn't budge, and they just got that demo play, which is what Riot need to do and need to look for themselves.
CJ making a statement on Wasteland. Renegades just may move on to the semifinals. And, you know, Turtle, there might have been previous tournaments where you would have heard Yummy say, I don't trust it. You even heard him kind of say it on the desk. He's like, I don't trust it. Riot have looked kind of good. I don't know. It scares you just because of Renegade's history. But you couldn't have asked. I really don't think you could have asked for a cleaner performance for them, considering where their past has been. They've looked so good in this match. It's exactly how you want them to look as a Renegades fan.
Well, and I think that's such a good sign for them because they're coming into this series very composed. They're not trying to out-mechanic the other team. They're not trying to be the fastest ones on the pitch. They just want to play simple, clean Rocket League and make the best decisions possible. Because at the end of the day, the mechanics, that'll come when they get warmed up and they go on and progress in this tournament. The main thing you got to worry about is the foundations, the decision-making, when to go for a challenge, where to have your third man, how to get a 50-50 like this from Fever. Simple ideas like that are what lead into great opportunities on offense, and it looks so good from Renegades.
For Riot, they've had their chances, and we've talked about the bane that is Walcott's experience on the pitch during this match.
I feel
and it's not just him, though. I mean, the whole team has certainly had their struggles. They've had moments of shining, but right now, the spotlight is all on Renegades.
And it's another bump there from CJ just to add on to the pain. They bring it a Riot on defense. Physical plays, good midfield passes is how the series started out with. I mean, you think back to game one, we had that pass from Kami into the midfield. That's exactly what kickstarted this entire series. Another attempt there from Renegades, but with 12 seconds left, you know that Renegades are going to take this one and move on to the semifinals.
And Fever might not have, shown a lot of flash. He certainly tried it when he got the chance. He was a machine on offense, scoring 6-7 goals in the last 2 games of the set. Fever coming up big time for his team, Renegades.
Huge.
Moving on to the semifinals.
Well, I mean, my question is, what was Renegades doing this time to calm down and get their nerves under control? I remember back whenever we first started playing and I was on a team with Garrett G. Garrett G would listen to I believe, classical guitar instrumentals to kind of calm him down in the middle of a series. Maybe they're implementing the same thing. I'm not quite sure, but they look so relaxed on the field, and it is definitely communicating in their gameplay and the way they're positioning themselves with their cars.
Well, classical guitars or sea shanties, whatever keeps you calm. Listen to it, pull it up. We're going to a quick break, but we'll have the final quarterfinal for the semifinals after the break.